Close your eyes and picture this: a long stone path, stretching across the horizon, glowing faintly under the setting sun. Once, this path was alive with the sound of footsteps, soldiers, merchants, messengers, and wanderers. Now, it lies buried beneath soil and silence, forgotten by time but not by history. Tonight, we will walk gently upon those stones, tracing the whispers of the Roman Empire, step by step, as the past opens itself to us once more. The first steps on forgotten ground. When people think of the Roman Empire, they often imagine marble temples, grand amphitheaters, and towering aqueducts. Yet, the empire's most lasting gift to the world may not be its monuments, but its roads. The Romans understood something simple but profound. Control of land was meaningless without the ability to move through it. Armies needed to march swiftly, merchants needed to carry their goods, and messages needed to reach every corner of the empire. So the Romans built roads, vast networks stretching nearly 250,000 miles. It was said that all roads led to Rome, and for centuries this was true. Imagine the scene 2,000 years ago, a Roman legion marching with iron discipline, the rhythm of their sandals echoing down the stone path. Behind them, merchants pushing carts loaded with grain, wine, and spices from the east. Alongside them, children running, laughing, their voices carried in the warm air of the Mediterranean sun. These roads were alive, arteries of the empire, pulsing with movement, trade, and life. But time is a patient thief. Today, many of these once great roads are invisible. Some lie buried beneath modern highways. Others are hidden under fields, forests, and villages. To walk on them now is to walk upon ghosts of soldiers, traders, farmers, and dreamers. The art of building roads. Roman roads were not simple dirt paths. They were carefully engineered with layers of stone, gravel, and sand, designed to last for centuries. At the base, large stones were laid for stability. Above them came smaller stones, then gravel, then paving slabs on top. This structure kept water from flooding the road and made travel faster, even in harsh weather. The roads were slightly curved in the middle, allowing rain to run off to the sides. Ditches lined the edges, carrying water away. Milestones were placed every Roman mile, marking distances and guiding travelers. To walk on such a road was to feel the mind of an engineer, the discipline of an army, and the will of an empire beneath your feet. For a Roman soldier, these roads were lifelines. They could march 20 miles a day, sometimes more, thanks to the solid paths beneath their sandals. For traders, the roads meant opportunity. Goods from the far reaches of the empire, amber from the north, silk from the east, olive oil from the south, could all be carried to markets more quickly than ever before. And for ordinary travelers, the roads were a connection to something larger. Imagine a farmer leading his donkey along the road, taking olives to the nearest town. He would see soldiers marching past, merchants shouting prices, children playing. He would feel the hum of the empire in every step. Silence falls. Yet time changes everything. Empires rise and fall, and even the strongest stones cannot withstand neglect forever. When Rome's power began to fade, so too did its roads. Without armies to march and governors to inspect, many roads fell into disrepair. Grass grew between the stones. Trees stretched their roots beneath them. Villages rose on top of them. Today, archaeologists often find these roads hidden in the most unexpected places. A farmer plows his field and suddenly uncovers a strip of stone. A construction crew digging for a new building stumbles upon a perfectly preserved section of Roman paving. In forests, narrow paths, overgrown with moss and ivy, still trace the exact lines where Roman engineers once laid their stones. It is almost haunting to think, beneath our feet, under highways, gardens, and houses, lie the very roads that once carried emperors and legions. Walking the ghost roads. If you were to walk along one of these forgotten roads today, the experience would feel strange. The stones are uneven, worn smooth by centuries of use. Birds sing in the trees where once soldiers shouted commands. A gentle breeze stirs the air where once banners snapped in the wind. You would not just be walking, you would be time traveling. Every step would echo with memory. You might picture Julius Caesar's messengers racing past, or a weary legionnaire, his armor clinking as he trudges along, or a group of children chasing each other, their laughter ringing across the stones. The road does not speak, but it whispers. It whispers of power, of ambition, of connection, of an empire that once thought itself eternal. And it whispers of silence, the silence that comes when time reclaims even the mightiest of human works. A living memory. Though many roads are hidden, some still live. In Italy, parts of the Appian Way, the most famous Roman road, remain intact. Tourists walk its ancient stones, imagining the echoes of armies and chariots. In England, France, Spain, and North Africa, fragments of Roman roads still stretch across fields and hills, reminders of a time when the empire was alive. And even where the stones are gone, their influence remains. Modern highways in Europe often follow the exact routes first laid by Roman engineers. The straight lines of Roman logic still cut across landscapes, guiding cars instead of carriages. The Roman roads are forgotten, but not lost. They are buried, but not gone. They remain, waiting for footsteps to return, for voices to remember, for history to be heard once more. The road builders. To understand these forgotten Roman roads, we must first pause and honor the people who built them. It is easy to imagine that mighty emperors or brilliant engineers alone were responsible, but in truth, the roads were built by human hands, by soldiers, by laborers, by enslaved workers. Day after day, under the hot Mediterranean sun or the damp mist of Britain, they carried heavy stones, dug ditches, and shaped the earth. Their backs bent, their hands calloused, they built mile after mile of road. Each stone laid was an act of both obedience and endurance. Imagine a young soldier, not yet 20, standing at the edge of an unfinished road. He has come from a distant province, perhaps Gaul or Hispania, and he has been told to dig. He grips his shovel, tired but determined. Around him, hundreds of men labor in rhythm, the sound of picks striking earth like a drumbeat. At night, they sleep in tents, their bodies aching, but at dawn they rise and continue. For months, sometimes years, they build, until the road stretches far into the horizon. The Romans were not only conquerors, they were builders. They believed that a road was a form of power, more lasting than a sword, more effective than fear. Through roads, they stitched together the vast body of their empire, connecting towns, fortresses, farms, and cities like threads in a mighty tapestry. Roads of stone, roads of memory. Some roads carried great armies. Others carried simple villagers walking to a market. But all roads carried memory. Think of a mother and her child traveling to the next town. She holds her child's hand as they walk along the stones. Around them, carts roll by, pulled by donkeys. Merchants call out their goods, salted fish, figs, olives, wine. Soldiers march past, their shields clattering. The child looks up, wide-eyed, at the world alive along the road. That memory, though never written in history books, was etched into the very stones. Every road was a stage where countless human lives played out. Births, deaths, trades, conversations, laughter, arguments, all of them happened on these paths. The roads were more than stone. They were veins of daily life. Now, when archaeologists uncover fragments of these forgotten roads, they uncover more than engineering. They uncover footsteps. Invisible but real. A web across the world. The Roman road network was astonishing. From the cold shores of Britannia to the sands of Egypt, from the mountains of Spain to the rivers of Mesopotamia, roads stretched outward like a web. The Via Appia, known as the Queen of Roads, connected Rome to the southern regions of Italy. The Via Augusta ran across Spain. The waddling street in Britain cut across green fields, linking forts and towns. Wherever Rome went, its roads followed. They were the empire's shadow, permanent and unyielding. And yet, many of these roads are forgotten now. Imagine standing in a quiet field in rural France. Birds sing in the distance, and wheat sways in the breeze. Beneath your feet, invisible under the soil, lies a Roman road, once alive with the sound of carts and voices. The villagers nearby may not even know it exists, but it is there, waiting in silence. The fall and the silence. When the empire began to crumble in the 4th and 5th centuries, the roads too began to fade. Without armies to maintain them, stones shifted, weeds grew, and nature reclaimed what had once been carefully ordered. Travel became dangerous. Bandits lurked where soldiers once marched. Merchants hesitated to journey without protection. Roads that once united an empire began to separate it. Imagine the silence, a stretch of stone path, once alive with 1,000 footsteps, now lying empty. Grass grows between the cracks. A rabbit hops across where once a chariot thundered. The road is still there, but its heartbeat has stopped. The empire had lost its roads, and with them, much of its strength. Roads rediscovered. Centuries later, people began to rediscover these forgotten paths. In the Middle Ages, some roads were reused by travelers and pilgrims. Others were abandoned, their stones taken to build houses, walls, or churches. But even when forgotten, the roads refused to vanish completely. Their straight lines cut across landscapes, and modern builders often stumbled upon them. Many modern highways in Europe today follow the very same routes first carved by Roman engineers. Cars now race along the paths once walked by soldiers and donkeys. The Roman roads became ghostly guides for the present. They showed us where to build, how to connect, how to move. Even when hidden, they shaped the world. Standing at the edge of time. Picture yourself now, standing at the edge of one of these ancient roads. The evening light falls gently across the stones. The air is quiet, except for the rustle of leaves and the distant call of a bird. You take a step forward. The stone beneath your foot feels cool and uneven. For a moment, you close your eyes and imagine. You hear the march of sandals, the roll of cart wheels, the shouts of soldiers. You feel the energy of 1,000 lives moving along this very path. Then you open your eyes, and it is gone. Only silence remains. That is the magic of these forgotten roads. They remind us that history is not far away. It lies beneath us, beneath soil and time, waiting to be felt again. Whispers beneath the soil. If you were to walk across Europe today, you might pass over dozens of Roman roads without ever realizing it. Some lie just a few inches below the surface, covered by grass, soil, or gravel. Farmers plow their fields, children play soccer, travelers drive on highways. And beneath it all, the ancient stones wait quietly. In certain places, you can see the roads only when the sun sets at the right angle, casting shadows across the land. A faint line appears, cutting straight across a field, so unlike the winding paths of nature. That line is history revealing itself for a brief moment, like a ghost lifting its veil. Archaeologists use aerial photography and satellite imaging to trace these roads. From above, patterns emerge. Straight lines stretching where no modern paths exist, roads connecting ancient towns long forgotten. It is as though the land itself remembers what human memory has lost. Roads and the soldiers. The Roman army depended on its roads. Without them, the empire could never have grown so vast. Picture a legion marching. Thousands of men in rows, armor gleaming under the sun. Their sandals strike the stone in unison, a rhythm that echoes like thunder. Each mile they pass is marked with milestones, carved stone pillars that tell them how far they are from Rome. Along the way, inns provide food, stables offer fresh horses, and guards patrol to keep the path safe. The roads allowed the army to move with incredible speed. News of a rebellion in distant Gaul? A legion could be there within weeks. Trouble at the frontier of Germania? Soldiers could march swiftly, bringing Rome's power to the edges of the known world. Without the roads, the empire would have been a scattered collection of cities. With them, it became one body, united by stone veins that carried soldiers like blood. Roads and the traders. Yet the roads were not only for armies, they were lifelines for trade. Imagine a merchant leading his mule along the Via Appia. His cart is filled with jars of olive oil bound for Rome. Along the road, he passes another merchant carrying glass from the east, and another with sacks of grain from Egypt. They greet each other briefly, sharing stories, then continue on their way. The roads turn markets into crossroads of the world. Spices from Arabia, silks from China, silver from Spain, wine from Gaul, all could travel along these paths. The empire became a network not only of power, but of exchange. Even today, when you walk in a Roman town, you may see stones polished smooth not by water, but by wheels of countless carts. Each mark is a memory of trade, etched into stone. Roads and the ordinary people. But perhaps the most touching stories belong to the ordinary travelers. Think of a young couple walking to a neighboring village to marry. They hold hands nervously, their sandals brushing the stones. A group of children runs past them, laughing. An old man walks with a stick, heading toward a temple for prayer. These travelers were not emperors or generals, but their lives mattered too. The road gave them connection. It allowed them to see friends, visit family, trade, worship, and live beyond the narrow walls of their homes. For them, the road was not just stone. It was opportunity, freedom, and a glimpse of the wider world. Silence after the fall. When the Roman Empire weakened, the roads lost their guardians. Soldiers no longer patrolled them. Inns closed, milestones fell, and bandits moved in. Travel became dangerous again. The once living arteries turned into scars. Weeds grew in the cracks. Stones loosened. Water-filled ditches once kept clean. Some roads vanished beneath villages that rose in their place. Others were broken apart, their stones reused to build walls and houses. Imagine the silence. The same path that once carried thousands now stands empty, with only the sound of wind and birds. The empire's heartbeat had stopped, and the roads felt it first. Rediscovery in modern times. Centuries later, scholars and travelers began to marvel at these old stones. Pilgrims in the Middle Ages often walked along surviving Roman roads, not knowing their full history. In the Renaissance, curiosity grew, and maps began to mark the Vie Romani, the Roman ways. In modern times, archaeologists carefully excavate these paths, brushing away soil to reveal stones laid 2,000 years ago. Some roads, perfectly preserved, look almost new, as if the builders had just finished their work yesterday. Standing on one of these uncovered roads today, you can feel the weight of centuries. The stone is cool under your hand. The air seems heavy with memory. You are touching not just rock, but history itself. A walk in the present. Let us take an imaginary walk now. Picture yourself in the Italian countryside. The evening sun is golden, painting the hills with light. A narrow path cuts straight across the land, paved with uneven stones. This is the Appian Way. You step forward. The stones are warm from the day's sun. Grass grows at the edges, but the center is clear. You hear your footsteps echo softly. For a moment, you close your eyes, and the centuries melt away. You hear soldiers marching, wheels turning, voices shouting. You smell the dust of carts, the scent of olives and wine. You feel the hum of life that once filled this road. Then you open your eyes, and the world is silent again. The road is empty, but alive in memory. Lessons from forgotten roads. The Roman roads remind us of something simple yet powerful. Nothing built by human hands is truly permanent, yet nothing is ever truly lost. The empire has fallen, but its roads remain, even if buried. They remind us of the value of connection, of moving, sharing, reaching out. They remind us that greatness is not only in monuments or battles, but in the quiet act of building paths that allow people to meet, trade, and live. These forgotten roads whisper to us, history is not gone. It lies just beneath our feet, waiting for us to listen. Roads through wilderness. Not every Roman road cut through fertile valleys or gentle plains. Many wound their way across mountains, forests, and wild lands that seemed untamable. Imagine standing at the edge of the Alps. Snow rests on the peaks, and the air is sharp and thin. Below, a narrow Roman road clings to the mountain slope, carefully carved by soldiers and engineers. Step by step, the stones form a ribbon, carrying travelers across landscapes that would otherwise be impossible to cross. Legions marched here, their breath visible in the cold air. Traders led mules burdened with goods, their hooves striking sparks against rock. Pilgrims climbed, step by step, whispering prayers as the wind howled. The road gave them passage where nature had tried to forbid it. Even today, when you walk in the high mountains of Europe, you sometimes stumble upon a Roman road, half-buried, moss-covered, but unmistakably straight. It feels like a miracle, a human voice carved into the silence of stone. Roads to the sea. Other roads stretched toward harbors, carrying goods to ships that sailed the Mediterranean. Picture a bustling Roman port. The smell of salt and fish, the cries of sailors, the creak of ropes. From the countryside, carts arrived along the paved road, loaded with grain, amphorae of oil, barrels of wine. The road was not the end, but the beginning of another journey, across waters that connected Rome to Africa, Greece, and beyond. Standing on such a road, you could look one way and see the sea glittering under the sun, and the other way and see hills dotted with farms. The road was the bridge between land and water, between village and empire. The human echo. What lingers most about these roads is not the stone, but the lives that once moved upon them. Think of a young Roman messenger, riding hard with a letter sealed in wax. His horse's hooves strike the stones, echoing against the countryside. He knows he carries words that could change a province, orders of war or peace or taxes. His path is straight, his duty clear. Or picture a family traveling for the first time. The father leads a cart, the mother carries a child, and the older children walk beside them. They are nervous, for the road is long, but it is also safe. Along the way, they find inns where they can rest, wells where they can drink, milestones that tell them they are not lost. The road gives them courage. Each life that touched these stones left an echo, even if no history book remembers their name. When roads become ruins, centuries passed and empires changed. Villages grew where garrisons once stood. Forests swallowed the edges of roads. Stones cracked under frost and rain. In some places, people broke apart the roads deliberately, using the stones to build homes, walls, and churches. The empire's lifelines became the bones of new lives. Yet even in ruin, the roads guided the future. Farmers planted their fields along the old routes. Shepherds led their flocks along the paths. Modern highways often follow the same lines, unaware that beneath the asphalt lies a Roman dream. The ruin of the roads is not their death. It is their transformation. The Appian Way, Queen of Roads. Among all Roman roads, none is more famous than the Via Appia, the Appian Way. Built in the 4th century BCE, it stretched from Rome to southern Italy, over 350 miles long. To walk the Appian Way today is to feel history under your feet. The stones are uneven but still strong. Cypress trees line the path, their shadows stretching across the road. Ancient tombs stand nearby, for Romans often buried their dead along the roadsides, where travelers could see and remember them. Imagine walking here at dusk. The air is warm, cicadas sing, and the stones glow golden. You feel as though you are not alone. The ghosts of soldiers, senators, merchants, and children walk beside you. It is said that St. Peter himself once walked along the Appian Way, and that emperors rode here in triumph. But it is also where countless ordinary lives unfolded. People whose names are lost, but whose footsteps remain. The Appian Way is not just a road. It is a memory that refuses to fade. Roads and time. The forgotten roads of the Roman Empire teach us something about time. They remind us that even the strongest works can fade, but they also show us that nothing disappears completely. A road buried in soil is not gone. It waits, patient and quiet, until the day someone uncovers it, or until the wind and sun reveal its outline once more.
History, too, is like that. We think it is gone, but it waits beneath the surface of our lives. Sometimes, all it takes is a quiet walk, a curious glance, or a gentle touch to feel it again. An evening reflection. Now imagine this. You sit at the edge of a Roman road as evening falls. The world around you is quiet. Birds call from the trees. The stones beneath you are cool. You run your hand across the surface and feel the grooves left by carts 2,000 years ago. Your mind drifts and suddenly you hear faint echoes, footsteps, voices, wheels. The air seems to thrum with life that is no longer here, but not entirely gone either. The road is forgotten, but in this moment, with you sitting here, it is alive again. A road in the forest. Somewhere in the heart of Europe, there is a stretch of land covered by tall pines and quiet streams. Beneath the moss and soil lies a forgotten Roman road. From above, it looks like nothing more than a faint ridge, a strange line running through the trees. But if you step closer, kneel down, and move away the leaves, you will find stone. Smooth stone, shaped and laid with care centuries ago. It is easy to forget that this place once echoed with the sound of wheels and hooves, with the voices of men and women carrying their lives across the empire. Now only the forest listens. Yet the road is still here, silent but enduring. The Empire of Dust. Rome believed its roads would last forever. All roads lead to Rome, they said, and for centuries it was true. But no empire lasts forever. Armies that once marched proudly along the roads were defeated. Provinces that once sent grain and taxes to Rome turned away. Slowly, stone by stone, the empire crumbled. And yet the roads did not vanish with Rome. They survived its fall. Even when Rome itself was sacked, the roads remained, carrying pilgrims to holy sites, traders to new markets, armies to new wars. In this way, the roads were greater than the empire. They outlived the dream that built them. The Pilgrim's Walk. In the Middle Ages, long after Roman legions had gone, pilgrims still walked along the old roads. Barefoot, carrying staffs and wearing simple cloaks, they followed the same stones once used by emperors. They prayed with each step, trusting the road to guide them. Inns and shrines grew up along these paths. The Roman milestones were still standing, weathered but legible. Even if the empire was gone, the pilgrim could still find his way. There is something deeply human in this image. One person, walking slowly on an ancient path, whispering prayers that drift into the wind. The road becomes not only a physical journey, but a spiritual one. The roads beneath our feet. Today, many modern highways follow the exact same routes carved by Roman engineers 2,000 years ago. When you drive across Europe, you may be traveling on asphalt that hides a Roman road beneath it. Sometimes construction crews dig into the ground and find layers of stone perfectly laid out, preserved through time. Workers pause, archaeologists arrive, and once again the road is revealed, like an old friend awakening from sleep. It makes you wonder, how many times have we crossed these hidden paths without knowing it? How many forgotten roads lie just beneath our feet, carrying silent memories of those who came before us? The poetry of stone. There is poetry in these forgotten roads. They are more than engineering, more than history. They are a message. Every stone laid by Roman hands says, we were here. We built. We connected. We dreamed of permanence. Even when weeds grow through the cracks, even when stones shift under rain and frost, the poetry remains. Walking on such a road feels like walking inside a story written not in words, but in the language of stone and time. What we carry forward. The forgotten roads of the Roman Empire are not simply ruins. They are lessons. They remind us that human effort can outlast kingdoms. That connection between cities, between people, may be more enduring than power or conquest. They teach us humility. Rome believed itself eternal, yet it fell. The roads, however, continued. Perhaps what we leave behind is not our empires, but our connections, our pathways, the ways we help others move forward. A sunset on the road. Picture this. The day is ending. You are walking along a Roman road that cuts across a quiet countryside. The fields glow golden under the setting sun. A gentle breeze stirs the grass. The stones beneath your feet are warm, holding the day's light. As you walk, you hear nothing but the soft rhythm of your steps. And in that rhythm, you feel something larger, an echo of all who walked before you. Soldiers, merchants, families, pilgrims, their footsteps blend with yours. Across centuries, across silence, you are connected. The road is forgotten by history books, but not by you. In this moment, it is alive again. Closing reflection. And so the forgotten roads of the Roman Empire remain. Sometimes buried, sometimes broken, sometimes shining still beneath the open sky. They remind us that no journey is wasted, no path truly lost. Even when forgotten, a road waits for someone to find it, to walk it, to remember. Perhaps that is the quiet gift of history. Not to remind us of glory, but to show us that even in silence, even in ruin, there is endurance. The roads remain. Waiting. Whispering. Guiding.